There is a small fire station in Livermore, California, that holds a world record that should, by all accounts of modern physics, be impossible. In a world where your smartphone begins to lag after 24 months, where your printer displays a cryptic "service error" just as the warranty expires, and where your appliances seem to have a built-in suicide switch, this hand-blown light bulb has been glowing, nearly uninterrupted, for over 120 years. It is a ghost from a forgotten era. It's a relic from a time when quality wasn't a marketing buzzword, but a foundational standard of human engineering. But somewhere between 1901 and today, the world changed. We didn't lose the technical ability to make things last. We made a conscious, boardroom-level decision to stop. This isn't just about bad luck, unavoidable wear, or cheap plastic. It is the result of a century-long architecture of paranoia and greed, a system designed to ensure that every single thing you own has a heartbeat and a preset time to die. Today, we are tracing the blueprints of our own frustration. From the secret cartels of the 1920s that shortened the life of the light bulb, to the invisible software locks of 2026 that turn your hardware into a brick. My name is Joseph Hopkins, and this is Built to Fail. Kindly like and subscribe to our channel to get updates. Today's archive, the 100-year engineering of the expiration date. Let's go back to Christmas Eve, 1924. To understand why your world is breaking, you have to understand a date. December 24th, 1924. While the rest of the world was celebrating Christmas Eve, a group of men in suits gathered in a quiet boardroom in Geneva, Switzerland. These weren't politicians or generals. They were the CEOs of the world's most powerful lighting companies: Osram, Philips, General Electric, and Associated Electrical Industries. They called themselves the Phoebus Cartel, and they were about to commit the ultimate, original sin of the industrial age. Up until that moment, light bulb technology was actually getting too good. Manufacturers were competing to see who could make a bulb that lasted the longest. Some lasted 2,500 hours. Others, like the one in Livermore, seemed destined to last forever. But for the cartel, a bulb that never burned out was a financial disaster. If people didn't need to replace their lights, the factories would stop. The profits would dry up. The solution? They didn't decide to make a better bulb. They conspired to make a worse one. They officially mandated that no light bulb could last longer than 1,000 hours. Period. This wasn't just a gentleman's agreement. It was a cold, calculated operation. The cartel set up a rigorous testing lab. If a company submitted a bulb that lasted 1,500 hours, they were heavily fined. They literally engineered the perfection out of the product to ensure a steady stream of future customers. They marketed this to the public as standardization. They claimed it was for safety and efficiency. But in reality, it was the first time in human history that a massive industry intentionally sabotaged its own progress for the sake of the balance sheet. By the 1930s, the 1,000-hour standard was the global norm. The lifespan of light had been cut in half, and the public was none the wiser. The Phoebus Cartel eventually dissolved during World War II, but the virus they created, the idea that a product's failure is more profitable than its survival, had already infected every boardroom on the planet. The light bulb was just the pilot program. The real experiment was about to move to the driveway. By the 1950s, the death switch engineering of the Phoebus Cartel had become an open secret in manufacturing. But the industry faced a new problem. The Great Depression was over, and the post-war middle class had money. The problem with a middle class is that once they buy a high-quality refrigerator, a reliable car, and a sturdy washing machine, they stop buying. They are satisfied. To the CEOs of the 1950s, a satisfied customer was a dead customer. Enter Brooks Stevens. He was a legendary industrial designer who gave this problem a name that would change your life forever: planned obsolescence. But Stevens added a psychological twist. He realized you didn't always have to wait for the machine to break physically. You just had to make the owner feel out of date. He defined planned obsolescence as instilling in the buyer the desire to own something a little newer, a little better, a little sooner than is necessary. This was the birth of the annual model. Suddenly, car companies weren't just selling transportation, they were selling this year's tail fins. If your neighbor had the 1956 Chevy and you were still driving the 1954, you weren't just driving an old car, you were a man out of time. Manufacturers began intentionally using materials that would degrade. Steel was replaced by thinner alloys. Metal gears were replaced by plastic ones. But more importantly, the aesthetic was designed to rot. Colors that were in this year were designed to look hideous by next year. The economy shifted from a needs-based economy to a desire-based economy. Economists of the era openly argued that the American way of life depended on the systematic waste of products. They believed that if things lasted too long, the wheels of capitalism would grind to a halt. We were no longer citizens or users. We were consumers. And the Latin root of consume is consumere, which literally means to destroy or use up. We weren't just buying products, we were being trained to throw them away. But while the 1950s broke our spirits, the 1990s were about to break our ability to even see the problem. The era of the invisible death was coming. For decades, if you wanted to break a product, you had to mess with the hardware. You used a cheaper belt, a thinner wire, or a plastic gear that was guaranteed to snap after 10,000 rotations. But as we entered the 21st century, manufacturers discovered a much cleaner, much more polite way to kill a device. They didn't need to break the machine. They just had to haunt it. Welcome to the era of software obsolescence. In the old world, a mechanical failure was a physical event you could see. Today, the death of your device arrives as a notification, a system update. It starts with a subtle lag, a keyboard that takes a half-second too long to appear, an app that crashes for no reason. You're told your hardware is no longer supported. This is a masterpiece of corporate linguistics. No longer supported doesn't mean the hardware is broken. It means the manufacturer has decided to stop giving it the permission to work correctly. This is the ghost in the machine. Your smartphone has a processor that is 10 times faster than the computers that put humans on the moon. Yet it struggles to open a banking app because the software has been intentionally bloated. New updates are designed for the newest chips, creating a performance tax on older models. It's a slow-motion execution, but it gets darker. We moved from bloated software to digital kill switches. Think about the printer that tells you the ink is empty when the cartridge is still 20% full. Or the smart light bulb that stops working because the company shut down the cloud server it depends on. In these cases, the product is perfectly functional, but the software has been programmed to lie to you. It is a form of digital gaslighting. By 2026, this has evolved into a subscription to reality. You don't just buy a car, you buy the permission to use the heated seats you already paid for. If you stop paying the monthly fee, the software breaks the heater. The physical object is sitting in your driveway, fully capable of keeping you warm, but the ghost in the software says, no. The great disconnect is no longer just about buying new things. It's about losing the right to own the things you already have. And if you think you can just grab a screwdriver and fix it yourself, think again. The doors are being locked from the inside. In the history of civilization, the concept of ownership was simple. You paid for an object, and that object became yours. You could use it, you could break it, you could sell it, or you could pass it down to your children. But in the last decade, the world's most powerful corporations have begun to execute a silent coup against the very idea of private property. They've replaced ownership with the subscription trap. The goal is no longer to sell you a product. The goal is to turn your life into a series of permanent, monthly microtransactions. In 2026, we are witnessing the hardware-as-a-service revolution. It started with software like Photoshop or Microsoft Office. You used to buy a disk. Now you pay rent. But now that rent has bled into the physical world. Automotive giants have begun installing high-end hardware into every vehicle. Features like remote start, performance boosts, or heated steering wheels. But they are software locked behind a paywall. You are literally carrying the weight of parts you aren't authorized to use. You're paying for the fuel to carry a heated seat that you don't own the right to turn on. This is the ultimate evolution of planned obsolescence. The product doesn't even have to break anymore. The company just has to stop your credit card processing, and the product expires instantly. We are moving toward a world where you don't own your tractor, your heart monitor, or even the digital books in your library. You are merely a licensee. If you read the fine print of the end-user license agreements we all click Accept on, you'll find that many companies reserve the right to revoke your access at any time, for any reason. This creates a terrifying power imbalance. If you own nothing, you have no leverage. You can't repair it, because that would be tampering with company property. You can't resell it, because the license isn't transferable. We are being pushed into a circular economy of debt, where the great disconnect is finally complete. We have been disconnected from the very things we buy. But as we fill our homes with things we don't own, the things we do throw away are starting to pile up in places the cameras aren't supposed to see. Every time we upgrade to a new device, we like to imagine the old one simply vanishes into a clean, efficient recycling system. We tell ourselves that the glass and gold and lithium are being reclaimed to build the next generation. But that is the most expensive lie we've ever been told. Welcome to the digital afterlife, specifically places like Agbogbloshie in Ghana or Guiyu in China. These are the e-waste graveyards of the world, and they are the direct physical byproduct of the 1,000-hour light bulb. By 2026, the world is generating over 70 million metric tons of electronic waste every single year. To visualize that, imagine a line of 40-ton trucks stretching from New York to Bangkok. That is the standard of failure in physical form. When a product is designed to be unrepairable, when the battery is glued to the chassis or the screws are proprietary, it makes professional recycling nearly impossible. It is cheaper for a company to shred your old phone and mine new ore from the earth than it is to carefully disassemble the disposable design they created. As a result, our upgrades are shipped across oceans to the world's poorest regions. Here, the great disconnect becomes a human tragedy. To get to the valuable copper and gold inside your old electronics, workers, often children, use open flames to melt away the plastic casings. They are breathing in a cocktail of lead, mercury, and brominated flame retardants. The lead seeps into the soil. The mercury enters the water table. We aren't just consuming products. We are consuming the health of entire ecosystems to maintain a 2-year upgrade cycle. This is the hidden cost of the subscription trap. If you don't own the device, you don't care what happens to it when it expires. And the manufacturer, who has already secured your next monthly payment, has no incentive to make the old one last. The e-waste graveyard is the final stop for a world built on the logic of Brooks Stevens and the Phoebus Cartel. It is a monument to systematic waste. But in the shadow of these mountains of trash, a new kind of rebellion is beginning. A group of people who are tired of being consumers and are starting to act like citizens again. The era of the screwdriver is fighting back. For a long time, the manufacturers had a secret weapon: your own fear. They told you that if you opened your laptop, you would void the warranty. They told you that the inside of a tractor was too complex for a mere farmer to understand. They used proprietary pentalobe screws to keep you out. And they used parts pairing software to ensure that even if you swapped a broken screen with a genuine one, the phone would still reject it. They wanted you to believe that repair was a lost art. But in the mid-2000s, the right to repair movement turned into a global insurgency. Meet the guerrilla repairmen. They don't look like revolutionaries. They are independent shop owners in Nebraska, teenage coders in Poland, and activists in DC. They are people like Kyle Wiens from iFixit, who realized that the most radical thing you can do in a disposable world is to provide a service manual. The battle began in the heartland of America. John Deere tractors, the backbone of global food production, became so digitally locked that farmers were forced to wait days for a certified technician to plug in a USB drive just to fix a minor sensor. The farmers didn't wait. They went underground. They began using hacked firmware from Eastern Europe to bypass the digital locks. They turned their barns into guerrilla labs, reclaiming the right to fix the tools they used to feed the world. They realized that if you can't fix it, you don't really own it. This movement forced a terrifying question into the public consciousness. Why is it illegal to fix my own property? From the repair cafes in Amsterdam, where neighbors help each other solder broken toasters, to the massive YouTube channels dedicated to board-level repair, the culture is shifting. People are realizing that a broken device is often just a 5-cent capacitor away from being perfect again. By 2026, this guerrilla spirit has forced the giants to blink. Under pressure from new laws, companies like Apple and Samsung have, begrudgingly, started selling self-repair kits. But don't be fooled. They didn't do it because they found their conscience. They did it because the standard of failure was finally being met with a standard of defiance. However, even as we pick up our screwdrivers, we have to face a harder truth. The problem isn't just in our gadgets, it's in our heads. We've been programmed to find old offensive. There is a cruel irony in the modern economy. The poorer you are, the more you pay for things to break. This is what economists call the boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. If you can afford a $100 pair of boots that last 10 years, you spend $100 once. But if you can only afford $20 boots that fall apart every season, you'll spend $200 over that same decade, and your feet will still be wet. In 2026, we have reached the final stage of this logic. Quality has been gentrified. We've created a 2-tier world. On the bottom tier, we have the disposable economy. This is the world of fast fashion that dissolves in 3 washes: flat pack furniture made of compressed sawdust that snaps during a move, and budget smartphones that are built with the expiration date written into their hardware. On the top tier, we have the longevity economy. Suddenly, the world's most elite brands are marketing timelessness as a luxury feature. They sell watches that you never actually own, you merely look after for the next generation. They sell solid wood furniture and repairable leather goods at 5 times the price of the average equivalent. Durability is no longer the standard of engineering. It is a premium add-on. This creates a longevity gap. If you have the capital to invest in quality, you save money over time. If you don't, you're trapped in a cycle of subscription ownership, constantly paying to replace things that were never meant to survive. But it's even deeper than the price tag. The manufacturers have learned how to market obsolescence as accessibility. They tell us that making things cheap and disposable is the only way to make them affordable for the masses. They've convinced us that a $300 laptop that breaks in 2 years is a bargain, while a $1,000 laptop that lasts 10 years is an extravagance. They are selling us the freedom to replace while stealing our freedom to own. By branding durability as a status symbol, they've made us comfortable with the fact that the things in our own homes are temporary. We've been conditioned to accept that our world is made of glass and glue, while the real stuff belongs to someone else. But why do we keep buying into it? To find the answer, we have to look inside the most complex machine of all, your brain. If the Phoebus Cartel provided the gun of planned obsolescence and Brooke Stevens provided the aesthetic, then modern neuroscience provided the trigger. Why do we feel a surge of excitement when we peel the plastic off a new phone, even when the one in our pocket works perfectly fine? Why does a 3-year-old car suddenly feel shameful to park in a driveway? To understand the great disconnect, we have to talk about the dopamine loop. Our brains are evolutionarily hardwired for novelty. In the wild, a new sound or a new fruit meant a chance at survival. But in the 21st century, Silicon Valley and Madison Avenue have hijacked that survival instinct. We have entered the era of micro-novelty. Manufacturers no longer need to make a product better. They just need to make it different enough to trigger a dopamine spike. A new color, a slightly different camera bump, a redesigned icon. These are pattern interrupts. They trick your brain into thinking you've achieved progress, when all you've actually done is transfer your wealth to a corporation. This creates a cycle of hedonic adaptation. We get the new thing, the dopamine spikes, and then, within weeks, it becomes the new normal. The high fades, leaving behind a satisfaction deficit. And the only way to fill that deficit is with the next upgrade. But there is a darker side to this psychological engineering: product anxiety. We are the first generation of humans who live in constant fear of our own tools. We worry about a dropped phone, a low battery notification, or a system update that might brick our hardware. We don't have a relationship of trust with our objects. We have a relationship of fragility. This constant state of near failure keeps us in a heightened state of stress. We are always one cracked screen or one expired subscription away from a crisis. Manufacturers love this anxiety. A consumer who is anxious is a consumer who is easy to manipulate. If you are afraid of your phone dying, you're much more likely to buy the protection plan or the newest, most durable model. The great disconnect isn't just about things breaking. It's about our peace of mind breaking. We have been trained to value the new over the true. We have traded the deep, quiet satisfaction of a tool that lasts a lifetime for the frantic, shallow rush of a gadget that lasts a season. But as we reach the year 2026, the psychological fever is starting to break. People are waking up to the digital burnout. For a century, the standard of failure was the law of the land. But as we sit here in 2026, the cracks in that system have become too wide for the giants to ignore. We are witnessing a historic pivot, a moment where the disposable age is finally meeting its match: the law. The revolution didn't start with a protest, it started with a label. Inspired by pioneers in France and the EU, the repairability score has become the new nutrition label for electronics. When you walk into a store today, you don't just see the price and the megapixels. You see a score from 1 to 10. This transparency has turned the secret cartel logic on its head. Suddenly, a low score, indicating glued-in batteries or proprietary screws, is a mark of shame. Companies that once competed to see who could make a device the thinnest are now competing to see who can make it the most modular. In 2026, we've seen the rise of the circular economy legislation. New laws in the US and Europe now mandate that any company selling a consumer electronic device must provide spare parts, diagnostic tools, and software updates for a minimum of 10 years. The ghost in the machine is being exorcised, but the pivot isn't just legal, it's technological. We are seeing the emergence of modular design as the new gold standard. Companies like Framework and TerraCube are proving that you can build a high-performance laptop or phone where every single component, from the screen to the processor, can be swapped out with a single screwdriver. This is the end of the box. We are moving toward a world of living hardware. Even the giants are flinching. We've seen the first self-service repair portals from the very companies that spent the last decade lobbying against them. They realized that in a world of rising material costs and environmental collapse, planned obsolescence is no longer a sustainable business model. It's a suicide pact. We are entering the era of the Lindy effect for technology. The idea that the longer a product survives, the longer it will survive. We are rediscovering the joy of the forever tool. But legislation and modular chips are only half the battle. The final step of the great disconnect isn't something a CEO can fix. It's something only you can do. We began this journey with a light bulb in a California fire station, a glowing reminder that the standard of failure was a choice, not a necessity. For 100 years, we have been living in a world designed to break. We have been conditioned to accept that our tools are temporary, our ownership is conditional, and our role in the economy is simply to destroy and replace. The great disconnect was the wall built between us and the things we rely on. But as we've seen, that wall is starting to crumble. Taking back control doesn't require a revolution in the streets. It starts with a revolution in your junk drawer. It starts the next time a device glitches, and your first instinct isn't to open a shopping app, but to open a repair manual. When you choose to fix something, you're doing something radical. You're opting out of the dopamine loop. You're rejecting the subscription trap. You're making a statement that your property belongs to you, not to a corporate server 3,000 miles away. We have to move from being consumers back to being stewards. A steward is someone who looks after something. A steward understands that a well-made tool is a bridge between the past and the future. When we demand products that last, we aren't just saving money. We are saving the literal ground beneath our feet. The year 2026 isn't just another timestamp on a calendar. It's a crossroads. We can continue down the path of disposable logic until the e-waste graveyards swallow our coastlines, or we can return to the centennial standard. We can build a world where new is no longer the highest compliment, and where broken is just an invitation to learn. The Phoebus Cartel wanted you to believe that light was a service you had to rent. But the light bulb in Livermore proves that light is something you can own. So, the next time something in your life stops working, don't just throw it away. Look for the screws. Find the right to repair. Demand the standard of longevity. Because in a world built to fail, the most powerful thing you can be is someone who knows how to make things last. My name is Joseph Hopkins. Thank you for watching this archive of Built to Fail. If you want to join us as we dismantle the standard of failure, one chapter at a time, hit subscribe. The manual is in your hands. See you in the next deep dive.